Hi there, my name is Brittany, and I'm here today to provide you with a bit of guidance on submitting your application and nomination to the 2023 edition of the UN SDG Action Awards. So just as a bit of background information, the UN SDG Action Awards is a signature program of the UN SDG Action Campaign that's seeking initiatives and individuals that mobilize, inspire, and connect people to drive positive change. Over 3,000 applications are submitted every year from over 150 countries. A really exciting part of the program is that finalists are invited every year to participate in the UN SDG Action Awards ceremony that's happening in this summer of 2023, with the winners being unveiled directly at the ceremony itself. So the location actually has yet to be revealed, but you can sign up for our newsletter in the comments to not miss that announcement. So it's a very exciting program overall. This year, the application and nomination window is open until the 30th of April. So a very exciting part of the program is that finalists will be invited to a special live UN SDG Action Awards ceremony, which is happening in summer 2023. And more specifically, it's happening on the 24th of July in Rome, Italy. And winners are going to be announced directly at the ceremony itself. We're also very pleased to announce that we have a deadline extension on the application and nomination period. So you have now until the 7th of May to submit your application or nomination to be considered to be one of the finalists in this edition of the UN SDG Action Awards program. So to get started, you're first going to want to go to our website, sdgactionawards.org, right here. And you'll need to decide if you'll be applying or nominating for an SDG Action Award. So under the application categories, these are for initiatives only. We have the categories of mobilize, inspire, and connect. So I'll just quickly go over those three with you. So mobilize, this is really for initiatives that turn apathy into action by mobilizing hundreds of thousands or even millions of individuals to take actions for the SDGs. So we're really looking for high impact here, typically involving collective and coordinated actions that mobilize people to flip the script for the 2030 agenda. So big numbers is really the key for the mobilize category. In the inspire category, we're looking for initiatives that harness the power of creativity to inspire positive change and shift behavior for the SDGs. So we're seeking initiatives and inspirational campaigns that flip the script and shift individual behavior and/or public policies. And finally, for the application categories, we have connect. So here we're looking for initiatives that turn division into unity by connecting diverse sectors and partners from citizens to institutions to accelerate progress on the SDGs. So we're looking for initiatives that flip the script, connect people, organizations, and institutions to harness commitments and accountability towards the SDGs. So mobilize, connect, and inspire, like I said, these are the categories you can apply to with an initiative. And the other category, Changemaker, this one's a bit different because this is a category where you nominate an individual. So this category is not for initiatives. So the Changemaker category, here we're really looking for outstanding individuals who demonstrate that the power is in our hands to flip the script and enact transformative change. Their actions have had an extraordinary impact towards the SDGs on the ground, whilst empowering communities to create a multiplying effect. So once you decide which category you want to apply to, your next step would naturally be to go to the apply button here. So here again, you have the categories just without the description, and you choose which one you want to apply for. Here, our app Mobilize, Inspire, and Connect. Well, here we have Changemaker. Before you apply though, it's important maybe to familiarize yourself with the judging criteria so you know what you need to put in the application before you start it. So the judging criteria is conveniently just on this page as well. Here we have it. So judges are looking for impact. So what is the impact of the initiative? How many people are impacted concretely? What's the number of sectors involved? Is there policy and legislation created from it? So here we're looking for the hard numbers essentially. And importantly, this is also demonstrating that your initiative is moving beyond an idea. So for the SDG Action Awards, it's very important that the initiative already has proven and concrete impact It can't just be a concept, unfortunately. Maybe that would be more relevant for something like the Global Week to Act for SDGs to show what's up and coming, what your organization's working on. But for the SDG Action Awards itself, we need to have clear proof of impact. The next judging criteria that will be looked at is the approach. So how innovative is the strategy? Is it breakthrough? Is it engaging? Is it those who are left behind? So something that's really new. And then we have scalability and replicability. So does this initiative have the potential to be scaled up or replicated in other contexts to accelerate the SDGs? And is there any evidence of this initiative already being scaled up? So this is what judges look for with all applications and nominations. And then additionally, for the nomination category, for the Changemaker category, there's one additional criteria that they look at, and that is the multiplier effect. So how has the individual impacted beyond his, her, their initial goal? Do they manage to inspire positive change while moving beyond this initial goal? So this is really looking, for the Gretas of the world, the big change makers. And one more tip before we go ahead and proceed with clicking on that apply here or nominate here button, I'd highly recommend to look at the application guidance at the bottom of this page. This is very convenient because it takes you through the whole application without having to actually open an application and start writing in it. So it's a sneak preview. What does the application look like? What are the questions that you're going to be asked? And it's a simple drop down under each of the questions here. So there you get an idea of what's coming up your way before you start. So let's then jump into the applications and the nominations. All right, so we're ready to nominate. Here you will be brought to the nomination portal. The main page simply highlights all of the information that has been included in our website description, including the definition of the Changemaker category itself. So let's begin the nomination by clicking here. Here it's best to name your nomination after the individual who you will be nominating. So I'm naming it Shrishti Bakshi. She's actually the Changemaker winner from the 2022 edition of the SDG Action Awards. So I'll be using her as an example today. Once you create the application, you'll be prompted to add your personal details. And once you do, I'll meet you back at the application portal. So now we're on the main nomination portal. Here you'll see the series of tasks which you have to complete in order to submit the nomination. And the first of that being the contact information, which is very straightforward. So here you would enter your name as the focal point who will be submitting the nomination, plus your email so you can stay up to date. All of the information you're entering in this section of the nomination is kept confidential. Nothing will go to the judges. Here you'll be entering the name of the changemaker who will be nominated, plus their email address. If you don't know their email address, then that's okay. You can leave that field blank and we'll do our best to find that email address on our side. And once you're done those fields, you can simply click Mark as complete. Here I've got the message saying the form contains errors. So let's go down and see what that is. And that's because I haven't entered my personal email. So once I enter my personal email, simply go Mark as complete, and then you'll be taken back to the main lists of tasks. Okay, so now that contact information is filled out, you see there's a green check mark next to it, meaning that section is entirely complete. So now I'm moving on to the basic information and I'll continue with my nomination. So country or countries where the nominee is active. So as a nominator, you're just basing your nomination off the information you know about the nominee. So I know that Shrishti is active in India. So I've gone ahead and I've checked off India. Maybe she's active in other countries, but as a nominator, you don't always have that information, and that's okay. So I'm leaving it as India right now. Similarly, with the cities where the nominee is active, for now I've put Delhi and Mumbai, but I know Shrishti, as we learned from her initiative, she's active in many more. She has been active in many more cities than that. But for the sake of this nomination, I'm going to put those two cities. You would then put the social media handles, only if they have them, of course. If they don't have them, then you don't have to fill in those sections. But obviously, the more information you can provide regarding the nominee, the better it is for the jury then to assess that nomination for the high-level panel of judges. And if there is another social media platform that's not mentioned, then please, you're more than welcome to share that link as well. The judges would also like to look at the website or any digital platforms related to the nominee's work. So here's a place where you can enter in that information. It's also great to hear how you heard about the SDG Action Awards to be able to submit this nomination. So I'm putting down social media, but there's a whole range of options there. And of course, which SDGs does the nominee's work focus on? So I know that Shrishti focuses on 4 and 5. If you were to focus on all of the SDGs, we do have a button here for all of the SDGs, which would make sure that all of them are captured in that information. And if you don't know which one specifically, that's also okay. And just to mention as well, same with the countries, if the nominee is active globally, we do have a button here for global so that you do not have to individually tick all of the countries on this list. Again, once you're finished with the simple section, you can simply click mark as complete, and then it will take you automatically to the next section. All right, here we are at section 3. So the story of the nominee and their impact. So here we really want you to pitch us the nominee's story in 200 words, so super short. So what is the aim and purpose of the nominee's work? How, when did it begin? What challenges did they address? What is the impact that the nominee has achieved? How is their work innovative, transformative? And has their work been replicated elsewhere? And very importantly, for the nomination category of Changemaker, how is the nominee creating a multiplier effect? So reaching beyond their initial goal and or target communities. This is only 200 words, so it's best to keep it short and simple and really put yourself in the position of the reader. It could be that your nominee's already very well known globally, but it could be that they're not so well known globally. And the judges, because the judges may not know them, it's great if you could introduce them from zero. Who are they? What do they do? That's what this section is really trying to capture. And as the second part of this section, we're looking for another short 100-word answer on how this nominee is flipping the script by recalibrating, reimagining, reinventing, and rewriting what is possible. What new narrative does it have the power to create? So how are they flipping the script? How are they turning, let's say, division into unity? What is different about their initiative? What is that new narrative in 100 words or less? So once you're finished with that section, just submit, mark as complete as last time, and we'll meet you back here for the next session. All right, so now we find ourselves at the review criteria section. So in the review criteria, we look at impact, approach, scalability, replicability, and the multiplier effect. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the tutorial, this is really some of the important sections that the judges are looking at and where the judges will be rating the nominee's application. Of course, the judges will be looking at the nomination as a whole, looking at, for example, the social media handles of the nominee, their website, any supporting documentation that we may have on the nominee, but this section is very important. So starting with impact, what is the impact of the nominee's initiative? So the number of people impacted, what are the tangible shifts for the SDGs? And this may involve changing of or the amending of policies or legislation. So for this specific nomination that I'm doing for Shrishti, I've mentioned that over 100,000 individuals have been mobilized. The documentary film has been screened at 14 international film festivals across 4 continents, and over 100 workshops were conducted focusing on women's safety. So really looking at concrete numbers in terms of impact. Then we have approach. That's really looking at how innovative the nominee's strategy is. Is it a breakthrough idea, and is it engaging those left behind? So that's what you should describe here. How is it a breakthrough idea? How is it something new that maybe hasn't been done before, a new way of applying practical solutions? And how has it been engaging those left behind? Who are those people that are left behind? And what is the change that this change maker has brought about? Then we have scalability or replicability. So does the nominees initiative have the potential to be scaled up or replicated in other contexts? So with your nominee, maybe it could be that the nominee has already created a bit of a ripple effect and others are scaling up. Or it could be that the nominee themselves have plans to scale up their own initiative. So that's the place where you would describe this information. Then, of course, we have the multiplier effect. So has the individual impacted well beyond their initial goal? So it could be an initiative that started very small and has grown, and maybe it's snowballing, it can't stop growing, which is great. So if that's the case, I mean, that's something we're looking for in the Changemaker category. So please explain here how it's going past the initial goal. Then we have this question here. So how do you believe the nominees' influence and impact would be affected if they were to win an SDG Action Award? Has the nominee already received recognition or awards? So if they've received recognition or awards, you can simply put the name of the award here. You can also put links within this field too. That's totally fine. So we can see exactly what they've received. And if you don't know the nominee personally, if you don't know how they would be affected by it, you can simply state that in here and be transparent about it. So once you've completed this section, again, mark it as complete, and we'll meet you back here for the supporting evidence and documentation. All right, supporting evidence and documentation. So here we're asking the nominator to share articles, links to articles, photos, videos, social media feeds, letters of recommendation, essentially anything backing up the claims or anything backing up the work of the nominee themselves. And these can simply be links taken from the internet. Just please ensure that when you upload any video or photo links that they are open access. So that would be the case if they're on Vimeo or in a Google Drive. Right. Something also to mention is that so for Shrishti, in Shrishti's case, in her application or her nomination, we had links to TED Talks. We had links to the documentary film festivals, which screened her work. We also had links to her website. So really anything and everything that backs up the credibility of the nominee is essential to include here. And once you've completed this section, you only have to check off the terms and conditions, and then don't forget to use this submit button to finally submit the application. Once you submit the application, you will no longer be able to see it, but up until that time, you can always jump back to the nomination platform and make edits to your nomination. So just a quick note that you'll know you're ready to submit when all of the forms have been completely filled out and there is a green check mark next to each of them. If one of them has a half circle, that means the form's not yet complete and you're going to have to go back and complete that form before you can submit your nomination. So let's submit. And there we go. So before we end the tutorial, we want to go over some of the most frequently asked questions to make sure you're in the best position possible to apply or nominate to the UN SDG Action Awards. So one of the most frequently asked questions we receive is, may I reapply if I applied in previous years and wasn't selected? So the answer is yes. If you can prove that further impacts have been achieved through a previous submission, then yes, you are more than welcome to apply. Another question we receive is, may I submit an application in more than one category? So again, the answer is yes. However, these applications need to be distinct from each other. So you couldn't, for example, apply in the Connect category and the Mobilize category with the same initiative with the same application text. So if you were to apply in two categories, the initiatives themselves also need to be distinctly different from each other. So how do I find out if I win? So winners will be announced live at the 2023 UN SDG Action Awards ceremony, which will happen in the summer of 2023. However, finalists themselves, they're actually going to be notified at the beginning of July of their status. And they'll be notified through email. Another question we receive often is, may I submit an application in a language other than English? Yes, you may. You're more than welcome to submit your application in your native language. Just be aware that some members of our high-level judging panel may not be fluent in your native language. And in these cases, they would use translation software to assess your application. Another question we receive is, who is going to be assessing the application? So this is the high-level judging panel. And on our awards website right here, we always have a tab for the judges. Here you'll see the selection of the judges from the 2022 edition of the awards. And as you'll see, they're leaders from across sectors and geographies. The 2023 judges will be announced in the coming months, but for now you can already preview the ones that the judges we had last year. And before we close off, just a few notes here. So we also have this awards alumni tab. Here we highlight both the winners and the finalists of previous years, and we tell you about their stories. So you can click on each of them to learn more about their initiative. So this is Sub-Fivers. They were the Mobilize winner for the 2022 edition. And you can learn more about their initiative here. And there are a few resources as well. So with the alumni, as you can see, once you look through them, the types of initiatives that have been highlighted as winners and finalists in the past, they're all very diverse. There's no two initiatives here that are really alike. So there's a lot of diversity with the SDG Action Awards program. Finally, before we close off, we also have a media assets page. So here you'll find a link to our Trello board, which has creative assets, which you're welcome to share and share with your networks for the awards. We also have a social media package and a highlights video here from our 2022 award ceremony. So you can get a sneak peek of what's upcoming for the 2023 ceremony. We also have our FAQs here in case you prefer to go over them in writing. So that concludes the tutorial for today. I hope you all have the information you need to submit an amazing application or nomination for the 2023 UN SDG Action Awards. And we look forward to receiving the application. So good luck.